see this. See if I can find my account on the computer. 1 second. I just want to make sure I can see all the comments. All right, so sorry about the lighting. It's a little bit dramatic right now. I'll try to not have too many shadows in the way. So I have 2 pads of paper. This one is a watercolor paper, and then this one is just a regular sketch pad. So you have 2 options. You can either just use pen and ink or pencil, or you could do a watercolor version. I didn't realize there's only 4 people. Okay, I'm gonna start over and wait for a few more people to come in the room. But thank you all for being here. Can everyone hear me okay? Do a thumbs up. No? Can you watch it, John, and see if it works?
I was watching it. It worked.
Okay. Hello, Lydia. Okay, we have 10 people here. I think there might be a little bit of a lag, but so I'm gonna start again. I have 2 kinds of paper here, and I'm giving you 2 options. You can either do a simple line drawing, or at the end, I'll give you an option to do a watercolor on top. So if you're doing a watercolor one, make sure you use watercolor paper. But I will be doing rough sketches and just regular doodles on here, but my final piece is going to be on the watercolor paper. So what I want you to do first, hold on 1 second. Okay, what I want you to do first is think of the frame that you want to use. There's lots of different frames. You can do an oval frame and have your character be here. So we'll be drawing a character, and what I want to do is have all these frames, and then you can send me the picture, and then I'll hang them all up on a virtual wall. So Facebook Live only. What does that mean? Anyway, so you could do an oval frame, or try to think outside the box. You can do a really long frame. And for me, because I'm short, I like to emphasize it, so I can put my body here, and then it'll make me seem really short because there's all that extra space. Oh shoot. 1 second. I will flip it. Let's see if that works. I guess is that better? Okay. This is all a learning experience for me. So I'm just using my pencil, thinking of different shapes. You could do a really wide one. And if you want to make your frame look crooked, what I suggest is just turning your page crooked and then drawing it straight. So that when you turn it regular, it's slightly off, if that makes any sense. I like having the crooked, imperfect frames. So let's just draw your rectangle, or circle, or oval, or little heart shape, however you want your frame to be. I'm gonna just do a crooked rectangle, setting my paper crooked, and gonna just draw a rectangle with your pencil. You're gonna be going over it in ink, but this is just to sketch it out. So how's everyone doing with that? I might do 2, just because I have a feeling I'm going to be working a little faster than everyone. So let's do an oval for this one. All right, has everyone gotten there yet? Do you have your shape? Give me a little thumbs up. So the next step, I see some angry faces and sad faces. The next step we're gonna do is roughly draw in our heads and bodies. So I'm only gonna do shoulders up, and my head is very big and round. So I like to do this shape for me, but if you have, you know, a taller head or maybe more oval, go like this. You can do triangular, or if you have more square head. Have fun, play with it, exaggerate your features a little bit. So like I said, I'm gonna do a big old round head for me. We'll do it here too. Actually, I'm gonna draw John in this one for fun. He has a longer, more oval face like that. And draw little shoulders. So, how's everyone doing there? Don't worry too much about your neck or you know, what you're wearing. Just draw in big general shapes. So are we good there? It shouldn't take you very long to get to this part. So now what I'm gonna do is divide my face up. You're gonna use a pencil and keep it very light. Just divide it into fourths like this. And do that over here too. This is gonna help me guide you where to put everything. But remember, this is just for fun. If you wanna do your own thing and get kinda crazy, I welcome it. All right, let's start with the nose, which is usually a feature right in the center of your face. I'm gonna put mine just below the center, but let me show you examples of what you can do before you get started. So you have your face here, and another face here, okay? So we could do a nose that's down further, and then you have your eyes up here, or you can do one that's up. It kind of raises your head, you look a little more confident, maybe smiling. You know, it's all depending on how you feel. You can use this as a way to express yourself a little bit. So there's different nose shapes. I'm gonna go with this Sharpie. And everyone's nose is a little bit different. For me, I tend to just use a big, flat, kind of bulbous shape because I like to make fun of myself. And then I put some nostrils in there. Don't have to be pretty. You could do a full circle, like a little pig nose. You can do a triangular shape. Some of you have those longer, sharp noses. Some other options, you can just do like a little boop as like a little nose. If it's kind of upturned. Another option, trying to think of nose shapes. I like to just do this one sometimes. It's like a sideways nose. And for John, I usually do kind of like a oblong shape because it's a little bit rounded. It's not a super sharp nose. So let's get started. For me, on my final paper, I'm going back to my pencil. I'm gonna sketch in kind of a big round or oblong nose. And then for John, I'm gonna go with kind of like the longer oval here. Think like Bert and Ernie, right? That's kind of what we're going with here. And just find out where you want it on the head. So how are we doing? Is everyone getting your noses in? If you need some reminders of different shapes that you can do, I'll go back to this page and then play with a couple other ones. What other kind of noses can we do? You could just do kind of like a Muppet nose, which is these longer completed ovals. Or sometimes I draw kind of a more realistic nose, which is, I don't know what I'm doing. Something like that. You can really go fully creative. Let's see, what else do I do? You can do like a long, sharp nose, like a witch nose, or a little mole on there or something. But just go crazy. Have fun. So once you're done with the nose, I keep it pretty simple. I'm gonna draw my nostrils in there. Let's get to the eyes. yeah, you might get some interesting shapes. So for my eyes, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board here. I'm Asian, if you didn't know that. So I usually draw my eyes, let me draw a circle first. I draw my eyes kind of upturned, like little almonds. And depending how I'm feeling, you can get different looks. So I like to do the little dot eyes if I'm feeling like scared or spaced out. Sometimes using the eyebrows makes a big difference. So I can be surprised or worried that way, or I could be angry. So the eyebrows really add a lot of expression. Other eyes that you can do, you can fill out the pupils like that. Change that up pretty quick. You can add eyelashes by going along the top line here and adding little like insect legs almost. And if you have long, luscious eyelashes, if you're lucky to be that, you can make this line even thicker. So you're adding on your little eyeliner. That's for, you know, I am not that lucky, so I usually just do the basic eyes. You can also do circle eyes. And I don't know, play around with the direction they're looking at. They can look up like this, or they can look down. Maybe there's a bug that they're staring at. There's other eyes. We could just do, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, just do these black dots like that. You can change the shape of the dots by making like little half oranges or orange slices like this, and it kind of looks like those scary eyes that you see in forests. What other things can we do? If you have glasses like John does, I usually do, it depends on the shape of your glasses, something like that. You can either put the eyes in or not. Since he has blue eyes, I tend to just do these little circles and then color them in blue. So there's so many options. Hold on. I had another list. Okay, here we go. You can also, if you're happy, just draw two little lines like this. So you're a little happy guy. Or you can be sad by doing the reverse and curving these like that. Or maybe you're sleepy, right? Sometimes you can add little eyelashes like this. And then they're just sad. Put a little tear. What else can we do? Let me just show you how I'm gonna do my eyes and John's eyes. Going back to the watercolor paper. John has these round glasses. If you look at my comics, they've changed over time. He had rectangular glasses, but now that he has these big round ones, I do this, and mine are just over the halfway mark. And then for me, depends how I want to feel. I'm just gonna do, since I've been really anxious lately, I'm gonna do the oval eyes that are pretty wide open, okay? Like that. And I'm gonna do just like the spaced out dots. And what I often do is I add little lines underneath to give me the bags under my eyes, like I'm really stressed out. And we'll do, John will be looking at me over here, okay? So I've got him kind of looking this direction. And we're gonna put the eyebrows in too. So I have these like kind of bushy eyebrows, but they're light, so they don't really stand out. So what I do is I just kind of scribble thicker eyebrows like that. And then John has these thick eyebrows, and they're really dark. So we'll do one up, like this, and then maybe one down. So he's looking at me like, what are you doing? Okay? Remember, play around with the eyebrows. You can really add a lot of emotion. You can make yourself happy. Or, oops, my eraser doesn't work very well. Or maybe you're feeling cool, like that, right? All different things that you can do. I wish I could see everyone's work right now. See how you're all doing. Do you have your eyebrows and eyes in? Thumbs up. Okay, well, I think it's pretty laggy, so I'm just gonna move forward. The next step we want is a mouth. And there's all types of mouths that we can do. So for the simple, I'm just gonna draw a bunch of little faces. To give you some ideas to play with, we're gonna do this kind of nose, little U-shaped nose, and then, I don't know, my little weird boob nose. So, we got some eyes. We'll do all different kinds of eyes. Happy eyes, sad eyes, suspicious eyes. And then maybe big eyes. Go super big with big eyelashes. Right? Oh yeah, I know, I love the sound of the Sharpie. Okay, now for the different mouths that you can do, this is where you can also put a lot of emotions. Sorry about that comment. Yeah. Anyway, let's do, I can do a straight line, which I love this. I do this a lot. And it's just, you know, it's like that emoji where you just see like the two dots. They're very unamused. Oh man, I like the sound. Just turn it, well, I guess you can't turn it down. You can put these little lines up here and then draw a big smile. Kind of a creepy look. You can do one of these little orange slices, right? And you can do two things here. You can either do just another little bloop for the tongue and then color this all in. You don't have to color it in right now because you're just sketching it. But that's the open mouth, happy face. Or you can do that same orange wedge like that. And then cut it in half and draw your teeth in like this. That's another one. Let's see here. You can do a little sad face, or what are we gonna do? Like a little circle, like he's like gasping or talking. And then over here, you know, you can do like a little circle or a little curve and then add some lips. Like that. It might take some practice doing that one if you're not used to it. So that's some different eye options. Another one I like doing these ones. The little hawk eyes. So now that you've got that, or you've had some time to think about it, let's draw in the mouths. What am I gonna do for this? I'm just gonna do a little straight one here. My mouth is pretty small, so it's funny. You can bring it all the way across like a Muppet, you know? That's cool too. John, what's he gonna be doing? I'm gonna do this kind of like upside down orange wedge here for him. Like, okay. Maybe you can put a little tongue in there. I'm gonna erase, oops, this eraser isn't very good. I'm gonna erase this line because I'm gonna keep it small. You can erase some of these guidelines too if you want. Let's put in some ears. I have really big ears that stick out. You know, I've kind of embraced them, but it did take a lot of time to get used to. I used to tell people, or little kids, that I was a fairy, and they actually believed me because of my fairy ears. John also has like these kind of bigger ears that stick out. They're not quite as big on his face. Those you don't have to get too creative with, but let's go back to this one. You can play around with it. You can go full ear like this, and then add another little line like that. as like a more realistic ear. You could have it just be these little thinner ovals so they're flatter to your head. Do little ears. If your ears are nice and tiny. I do kind of this weird shape sometime, like that. That's the little earlobe. If you have earrings, sometimes I do like a little circle, like that. Or you could do these ears and make these little hoop earrings, which I often do. You have some options. And your hair might cover it up completely, depending on what you want to do there. Speaking of hair, I'm assuming you're all done with this and ready to move on. Think about your hair. For me, this one's gonna be me because it actually kind of looks like me. I have these bangs, but they're not straight across. They're kind of messy. I cut them myself, right? So I kind of just very sloppily scratch them in. The more sloppy, the better. And then, well, you can draw in your shoulders here. So I sometimes have some longer hair over the shoulder. You can do some behind the shoulder like this. And then I usually have a couple of hairs that stick up. So that's what I do. But you can do all different things. If you're a guy, maybe you have a mustache. Or you have some, you know, scruff, which I just do little dots like this. Sorry, it's kind of noisy. My light's flickering. Okay, a pixie cut. Let's see. I don't know. Sometimes I guess it depends on what your bangs are, but if you have something like this, and just keep it nice and short. Or maybe you have a hat on. Let's see, what am I gonna do here? Maybe a baseball hat, which, I don't know, this one's not going well. It's sideways, but let's just embrace it. He's got a sideways baseball hat on. Okay. What else can you do? If you need me to do any examples, just shout it out like Amanda did. Maybe you have a part down the middle like this. Or you have a hair bun on top, right? What else can we do? Hair that flares out. So I like to use a lot of line drawing, but if you want to do more where it's colored, you can just draw the outside of the line like this. But for me, you know, I like to draw some individual hairs like this. Kind of curving along. Or you could do a ponytail. Since it's facing us, sometimes I get away with like a kind of a side ponytail. Or you can do pigtails. If you messed up, don't worry. You should still be working in pencil right now. I'm just using the Sharpie as examples. A full mustache and beard, that's a good one. So I had the mustache too already. I like to just draw it scratchy like this. And depends on, bring the hair up, sideburns here. You can go really big and make it kind of curly. That's kind of messy actually. Sorry, I'm not very good at doing this. Maybe I'll just cover it all. That one did not turn out very well. Just kind of experiment. It's easier to do in pencil right now. So I'm going to draw my hair and John's hair. My hair, like I mentioned, I have these bangs that kind of are messy. They're always parted a little bit weird. All different unevenness because I cut them myself. And I put these little ones here. And I'm going to carry it over my shoulders. Like that. It kind of looks like I have headphones on. Let's cover up some of it like that. And then for John's hair, he has kind of a big forehead. He's gonna hate me for saying this, but I do just a little bit on the sides, like this. And then it kind of comes down at the top. And he has some longer, scruffier hair right now. Because everyone's in quarantine and no one's getting their hair cut. And then he also has scruff, but I'll put that in later. Okay, so is everyone drawing in their hair? I am going to start drawing in the body a little bit. So you should just have your shoulders in here. And I'm always in a hoodie. I'm in a hoodie right now, actually. So what I do, I draw a little wedge right here, and then another line going straight down. So it looks like a Y. So this is where the zipper is. I usually do a little kind of triangle / rectangle thing. And then I do another line. This is where the hoodie goes around the neck. And then I do little lines for the arms. John's always wearing a hoodie too. We're basically twins, but not. Doing the same thing for him. And usually there's little like drawstrings, so I draw those in. Let's go over here again. If you want, you can draw in a longer neck. Let's say you have your shoulders like this. And let's put her in a t-shirt. So draw these little arm lines like that. And then pick how long your t-shirt's gonna be. We'll do it a little bit shorter for her, like this. And then maybe another little line here. Maybe she's got a little pocket. Or if you want to do a button-down shirt, I usually do something like this. And then a little line here. I'm going to give him a more square look. You can draw some little buttons. Maybe you want to do a bow tie. Okay. Let's play around with some other ideas while you're still working or thinking about it. Anyone have any questions or suggestions, things they want to see? I'm just gonna draw their little bodies. let's do, maybe you're wearing a dress. I'm gonna do the arm here. And I'm actually gonna make a little space. So let's say this is a frame. And by cutting out these little chunks here, that actually makes the arms look thinner. You can do a little, you know, fancy shape like that. Maybe put a necklace. Have fun. There's different types of accessories that you could do. You can even put a scarf in. Just draw 2 circles, that's what I did. 2 little half circles. And then a little kind of triangle piece sticking out. And you have a scarf. It's nothing fancy. What else can we do? You know, think about adding stripes or some kind of pattern. You can do a floral pattern. This guy has stripes. Looking very French. And a little, I don't know what berets look like. A little oval, right? And then a little dot. And a little mustache. Just be silly with it. Is there any other clothing recommendation? Just think about what you're wearing now or what you usually wear. Maybe you have a cloak on or something, or a sweater. Polka dots or something. Alright, so at this point, you know, we're pretty ready to start inking it. John's head's a little bit too big. Whatever. It doesn't need to be perfect. A lot of times I make major mistakes and people don't even notice it. Let's define our frame a little better. There's lots of different frame options. I'm going to stick with pretty simple ones. Just a basic rectangle one for me. John has a more ornate oval one. Maybe he's got some wavy stuff going on. Alright, something like that. And then for the basic square ones, you can add some more details like a real frame would look like. Maybe some nail holes. And John's is just going to be like this with some little details that I'll put in later. Is everyone ready to start inking it? This all should be done in pencil by now. And if all you have is pencil, that's fine too. I have a waterproof pen. Sharpies, I hear, are also waterproof. So if you want to do a Sharpie one, you can. And this is only for people that are going to do watercolor on top. Otherwise, you can just use a regular pen or a dark pencil or something. Actually, not a dark pencil, because I want you to be able to erase all the sketching lines. So you're just going to go over all these darker lines and kind of pick what you want. I'm going to start with my hair. I like to have my lines really messy and imperfect. I'm going to do my little bits there. Okay? And then I'm going to draw my face shape. Whoops. Kind of giving myself a little bit of a fat chin, but that's okay. And then I'm going to draw my neck. And since the hair is going to be over the clothes, it doesn't really matter which one you do first. I'm going to do my hoodie. I don't mind if the lines are still seen through. And then for my hoodie, because it's really scrunched up, I just do a couple lines like that. Just some messy lines. And the zipper. Shoulders. And my underarms. We're going to do the zipper. You don't have to include these little details, but I think they're kind of fun. And I'm going to start doing the frame now. I'm kind of working all over. Just pick which ones you want to work on. I'm doing the frame. Take your time. If your line's crooked, that's okay. We're not going to be putting these masterpieces in any museums. You know, play around with your frame. I'm just following the lines that I drew in. I hope you're all getting a little creative, or more creative than I am with the frames. And for some wood texture, I'm just going to add some lines. You know, you see this kind of treatment in a lot of old cartoons. Just add these long lines. Just a few. And then I'm going to add my little nail holes. Sorry, my light just turned off. There you go. So there's my frame. And I'm going to do John's frame too while you're still spending time on it. The big oval shape. He's got these fancy old kind of Victorian frames. And I'm just going to draw a little wavy line around the whole thing. It doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to put some little circular embellishments on it, make it extra fancy. If you can see it without the shadow. I'm clearly not spacing these out well. But I can always go in and add a few in between if I spaced it out too much. I just want it to look a little more fancy. I'm gonna start working on the features. So my eyeballs are these kind of wide oval, wide almond shapes. Whoa. And I put my nose in. I don't complete the circle, but it's not a big deal if you do complete the circle. And I have these big nostrils. For my eye, I'm gonna just do these little circles. But you can also play around and do some fun stuff, like doing eyeballs like this and having one little one and one big one. Makes you look extra crazy. I'm gonna just draw a straight line for a mouth. And for the ears, I'm not gonna draw the whole ovals. I'm just gonna kind of go outside of them like that. And I'm gonna draw in the rest of my hair. I don't color it in fully because I have some kind of highlights on my hair. I'm coloring behind my hoodie and bringing these longer ones in the front, like that. Take your time. I'm gonna be spending a little bit of time on John's, so we're not in a rush. Let's get some eyebrows in there. I just do a couple of scratchy lines because my eyebrows are very thin. I mean, they're thick, but they are light colored. And then I'm gonna do some bags under my eyes. Like that. If you have any moles or something, you can put like little circles. And then if like this, my chin looks pretty swollen, I can actually go and kind of color in a little bit more. Like that. And just use the color of my hair to hide it. You can also use whiteout, but I do find that the watercolor doesn't sit on top of the whiteout very well. And you know what? I'm gonna add these little curls in my ears. And for John, let's get started on him. I always start with his glasses first. Big circle glasses. They don't have to be perfectly the same. I'm glad you're having fun, Kathy. And then I draw in, he's gonna be looking over like that. Make him have his big nose. I think I put his mouth up too high, so I'm gonna use my eraser. And then just move it down a little bit. Like that. Maybe give him a bigger chin. And I tend to just go all the way around his head. And I draw the hair on top of it. But you can do whatever you want. Give him his ears. We'll give him some more detail in his ears as well. And for his hair, since it's kind of thinner, I'm being careful about how much I put on. We're gonna go all the way up. This is for those kind of, he's gonna kill me, the receding hairline types. And then he either has his hair slicked down like this, and it's always parted kind of on the side. Or, you know, he has kind of a messier hair. Maybe some of it's sticking up a little bit. Right now it's been pretty messy. This is the quarantine edition. Extra stressed out, extra bags. For him, I don't give him bags under his eyes. Maybe I'll make him angry because I talked about his receding hairline. All right? He's disgusted, offended. We're gonna do extra thick eyebrows for him. And then I do the little orange slice shape like that. We're gonna do a little tongue. And what I do, if the mouth is open, I color it in completely and just leave the tongue shape white. Like that. So he has a lot of scruff, and I just do little dots kind of along the hairline of where a beard would be. just the bottom half of his face. You can do as much as you want. And then I'm gonna put in the neck. He's got a little bit of a thicker neck than me. And then also gonna put in this hoodie. You know, you might need a little extra help if you're doing the hoodie or any fancy clothing ideas. Try to look into a mirror and see what shapes you're seeing. Sometimes if I'm doing the underarms like that, I do another little bit like that. Just makes it feel more like a crease. And then I'm gonna do his little drawstrings. Sometimes they have little tips at the end, like that, and a zipper. And then we're usually wearing t-shirts underneath, so I do another little bit like that. So I am imagining that it's taking you all a little bit longer. I'm gonna add a little more detail to my frame since it's nice and big. I'm gonna add some dimension. Choosing one side, I'm gonna add another line here, a thinner line. And this will make it look like the inside edge of this frame. And then I'm gonna do it up here as well. So we're kind of looking up and over. We're looking this direction, or this direction, I guess. Same with this, you're gonna do another line on this side. Need to turn this light off. Ugh. Leave it on, I don't know. And then I'm gonna follow it all on the bottom too. So we have a nice wooden frame. I'm gonna, I can do the same thing for these wavy frames. Let's, just gonna pick a side and kind of follow the curve along. And then I'm gonna go a little along the bottom. So it gives it a little more dimension. Oops, adding a line like this here. Good enough. So once your ink is very dry, give it a little bit of time. You can use your eraser. Test it out on a little spot first to make sure that the eraser isn't ruining the paper. But I have one of these, you know, kneaded erasers. It's a little more fancy. If you have a good pink eraser or one of those white erasers, just carefully erase everything. Make sure the ink is dry, because sometimes it smears. We're getting there. Hope everyone's enjoying it and I'm not moving too fast. If I am, you can always type slow down. I'll find ways to kill some time while you catch up. And if you're really fast, maybe you can work on 2 like I'm doing, or a whole family. I'm gonna erase John's over here. Ah, thank you, Stellar. I try to get it pretty clean, but some of these pencil lines are pretty dark. This is like my workout. So there we go. A final detail that I like is I'm going to straighten my paper out. And now everything looks a little bit crooked like I intended. You know, it's not perfect. Oh well. Maybe I'll even tilt it over a little more. And going from, these are pencils first, but imagine that there's a wire. And we're gonna extend it from one corner and kind of meet in the middle. Like that. This is gonna be where you hang the frame. We're gonna do a little nail. You can pick as long nail as you want. One of nails, I guess. I just do a straight line in any direction, really. You could do something like this. And then a little circle at the top. It's like a cartoon nail. And once you're feeling good about that, let's just ink it in. Just make sure that the point where you're meeting is going to be right under the nail. Like that. That makes it feel realistic, and having the straight lines makes it feel like there's a lot of weight to the frame. And I'm going to make sure that dries a little bit before I erase it. Let's try that over here too. You know, it's going to be a little bit different for these oval frames. Kind of imaginary. I don't know if I need it over here. If you don't want to put this part in, that's fine. I just think it looks kind of fun. Something like that. Alright, so if you don't have watercolor, that's okay. I can do another little fun addition while I'm watercoloring. But for those that are using watercolor, what you're going to need is just a simple brush. I know we probably all have different kinds of brushes. I use a small round one like this. And then I have some water here. Get a paper towel. You want to make sure that you have something to dry your water or your paint on. And where's my... I have one of these watercolor kits. Not many colors. It's pretty simple. You can use any kind of watercolors. So once you have everything erased, let's erase these lines up here. They should be dry by now. I always start with the skin color. I mix a little bit of water. I try to keep it pretty light. And you can see me mixing it here. I dip into some yellow, make it pretty watery. I don't want it to be too bright. Adding a little bit of red to get kind of a fleshy look. And then you can do a little test on the paper to see if that's what you want. Remember, it's going to dry a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to use the skin color and go over everything. Make sure it's pretty wet. Cover all my skin. Leave the eyes white. Get those ears in there. Now I'm guessing I'm moving a little fast. And some of you are setting up your watercolors, but remember I have 2 portraits that I'm doing. So take your time. Well, this paint's pretty wet. What I like to do is I add a little bit more red, just a touch. And then I like to add more red to my ears, kind of let it bleed. I add a little bit to my nose. You can add some to your cheeks if you want a rosy cheek. I'm going to do the same for John. His is going to be a little more peach toned and a little lighter. So to make it lighter, I'm using some more water, kind of toning down the paint. We're coloring all his skin. You don't have to add the extra red bits. That's personal taste. And everyone's gonna have different skin tones, so just play around and experiment with what saturation works best for you. There's gonna be, you're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna smear across the page sometimes. It's not a big deal. In fact, sometimes it adds a little bit of character. So if you're not doing watercolors, I'm gonna do an extra little one for you all on the side over here. We're gonna do a dog and a cat while we wait for some people to catch up. We're just gonna give them basic frames. For dogs, I'm gonna have it look up and to the side. Start with a circle. And then depending on how long you want their nose to be, let's just do this. This is gonna be Coconut. She has a long nose. But if you want, you can do something like this with like a little short nose, or maybe one with, what else is there? Like a little upturn, kind of like face like this. Maybe those pugs with almost no nose. In fact, their jowls stick out more than their nose is pressed close to their face. And then I'm gonna draw the neck in like that. And for the cat, we're gonna do it facing us. So let's just do a big oval and draw little shoulders, just like a person. The funny thing about cats is they have these big eyes. That's what I usually do. The eyes take up most of their face and are almost in the center. We're gonna do the same here. And the eyes are gonna be like this for Coconut. And draw the nose at the end. And cats have these little tiny triangle noses right in the center. Just like that. You can always tell it's a cat with these long pupils. And then we're gonna give Coconut a big smile because she's a happy dog. Add a little collar here. And for the cats, they usually have big ears, big triangle ears. Okay, Amanda, go eat. I'll post the video so you can watch it later. And then for the ears, dog ears, they all look a little bit different. I'm just gonna do something like this. Just like a triangle here and kind of a weird shape over here. And cats have these little mouths. Boop. They're usually not very happy. So we're gonna make this an unhappy cat. Back to the watercolors. Oh, it's light. Back to the watercolor. Pick a color for your shirt. I usually do a bright pink, mixing it up here. And then I just color it in. Pink is my color. You can see I'm being pretty sloppy. We're bracing the imperfection here. Embracing, sorry. And then for John, I usually pick a green or a blue. We're gonna do this emerald green color. He gets the green shirt. We're not going to be touching the face right now. We want to make sure it's all dry, because if you accidentally smear it with your hand, you might be unhappy. Let's color in the frame too. I'm going to do a brown frame for mine. You can use the side of your brush to cover more space. So you don't have to just use the point. You can use the side and go all the way down like that. I'm gonna do some of this. If you're more advanced, what I like to do is I like to add some other colors. I'm gonna use a little bit of yellow just to give it a little more character. It makes it feel a little more real. Go for like a ombre effect. There we go. Ah, thank you, Dan. For John's, I'm gonna do this a yellow frame, you know, like one of those fancy gold ones. I'm not even mixing my color, I just want it to be pure yellow. So while you're coloring in some frames, I'll work on the animal drawings more. I'm just gonna go straight into the ink. I'm gonna go around like this. Cat ears, oops, there's some water there. And one thing for cat ears that you can do is you can take a little wedge, go a little bit down, and then up, and then down again. And this kind of separates the inside of the ear from the outside of the ear. Color in these, or drawing these eyes. Get in these noses. A little frowny face. And draw on the frame really quick too. This cat is like, why am I still inside? It's drawing coconut. I'm gonna start with the nose and just do the outside of the body. I'm just gonna give her big circle eyes like that. And curl up. So the mouth, you want to go down a little bit from the nose and then just make a nice curve here. I know I'm moving a little fast on the animals. If you really want more instruction with it, I can help you. I'm kind of just doing this as another bonus while we're coloring. Add a little nostril. So I have these triangle shape ears. Can add a little bit of a chin here, maybe some longer hairs. And for the cats, you know, I have these cats with the stripes, so I kind of do a Garfield stripe treatment. And then the stripes go into the shoulders too. Can add some whiskers. Maybe 3. 3 is a good number. I'm going back into the watercolor now. So while you're, you know, if you're doing any bonus animal drawings, you can keep working on those. Get the frame in. Since John's eyes are left open like that, I'm gonna dip a little bit into the blue. He has blue eyes. And then color just inside. Like that. Let's color in his hair. He has a dark brown, so I'm mixing a little black with the brown. Again, you can test, see if that's the color that you want. And it is, so I'm gonna just color in the hair very carefully. You wanna make sure that your skin color is dry, otherwise it's gonna bleed into it. So I kind of have the same color going in my hair. It's more black. So I'm starting up here. You can let some of the lines shine through. Going down. And my hair kind of has a bleached ends to it. So I usually get the top part nice and dark, clean my brush really well, and go into the gold color. Just add color here. Maybe it's like a golden brown. Like that. And John, I left a little bit of his tongue, so I'm gonna do a little bit of red. And then I'm just gonna color in that little tongue. Makes a big difference. Oh no. Please, well, you can add whiskers to yourself. I'm gonna erase the lines of the animals. So we're pretty much done. We have all of our colors in. I have some animals over here. I'm gonna do one more step. If you're more advanced, you're welcome to continue. Otherwise, just be sure to send me a picture of your final image. I'm gonna go back into the watercolors. and we're gonna add some more dimension. So this is a little more complicated. Let's mix up kind of a shadow color of your skin. And what we do is we start with the yellow and red mix. Oops, too much red. You can kind of remove some of that. Add more yellow. Get it nice and watery. I don't want it to be too dark. So something like that. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of blue just to darken it. Maybe a little more red, a little more blue. So you're coming up with this kind of like the wood color actually. And what I'm gonna do is just where the shadows would be. So right under here, add a little more blue for me. And then you can do a little bit on the nose, like this. And you see how that makes it feel more three-dimensional? If it's too dark, you can use your paper towel to gently pick up some of the pigment. I'm gonna do some under here. Add a little more blue, so it's more like a dark purple. Not a dark purple, it's gonna be pretty light still. Under the eyes. You know, get the stressed look. So let's do the same for John. Adding a little bit of a shadow here. Again, if it's too dark, just dab it up slightly. Adding a shadow for his nose. And if you want, you can do a little bit underneath the glasses. Going into his ears a little bit. I'm gonna do the same for my hoodie. So I'm mixing up a pink, adding some blue. So it's a little bit like a purple, sorry, can't see it. And then I'm just gonna go right where the shadows would be. So it's gonna be just under everything. Maybe a little in the back, darken that. Usually these little strings would have a shadow. And I'm just gonna pick a side. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do the same for John. Making a kind of a dark blue green. I'm gonna add the same kind of shadow direction. Coloring in the back. Under his arm here. And the drawstrings. So if you're feeling like you want a little more extra, you can color the background. I'm gonna do kind of a light blue. That's often what we see. Watering down this blue. You know, it kind of makes me feel like I'm in one of those photography studios with the cheesy backgrounds. You can play around with this though. You know, draw like a jungle scene or whatever you want. It's just to have fun. I'm gonna do the same for John. And if you don't have watercolors, you can always do this later. Like, go buy some from a store. Just make sure that you're using a waterproof ink. Alright. I'm gonna darken the side of the frame too while we're at it. I'm just gonna pick this little wedge and darken the bottom. And pick a darker gold color for along the edge here. And if you want to be really fancy, once this dries a little bit, let's pick like a kind of a lighter blue. You can go along the very edge and make it look like it's sitting on a wall, like this. And do it over here too, just slightly. These little shadows make a big difference. Got a little purple in there, but that's okay. And do the same over here. I'm just going along the edge. So how's it going? Is everyone doing well? I can't wait to see what you're all doing. When you take pictures of these, make sure you're in a bright light. Put your camera directly over so it's kind of level with the surface of your paper. You don't want it skewed. You don't want to be looking down and to the side. You want to be directly on top. And make sure it's well lit. Make sure you don't have shadows of your hands in there. And then go ahead and send the image to me. You can either send it through me through Facebook Messenger or email me at heatherihn@gmail.com. And I'm going to compile these and Photoshop them all together because I think that would be really fun. But I will be coloring these guys later. And I'm here for any questions, any last minute things that you want to say. Otherwise, I'll be closing this down and looking forward to your emails. We good? All right, I think we're good. Aww, I'm getting some images already. These are awesome. I hope you had fun, and if you want me to do more of these, maybe with different animals or different family members, just let me know and I can set up another Facebook Live. But thank you all for watching. It was so much fun. Oh yeah, I will write down where I'm gonna send them, or where I want you to send them. Send them to Heather IHN, that's my middle name, Een, Heather Een, at gmail.com. All my comments are coming up right now. Oh, thank you, Natalie. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.